Obviously, first thing I want to do is welcome formally and officially, although they've been for some time, Jalen Coleman lands DJ Williams, Aaron Jordan, and Darius Paul back to the family, the first three to the family officially. And we're excited. I think, all four of those guys, and I'm sure you guys will ask a ton of questions about each one of them, which is fine, bring different things to the table. But one of the things I like about, certainly all four of those guys, whether it's, Darius and his maturity and experiences that he's been through. I mentioned yesterday his humility and how much he's fought through some things. And I'm really proud of his growth as a person, student, and player. And then the other three, guys that'll be incoming freshmen, they really exemplify, what it means, as we said in the press release yesterday, to be Illini guys, as people, as students, and as players. We've addressed different needs with the four guys, shooting, obviously, with Coleman and Jordan, although I think certainly both guys get labeled as such, but they bring much more to the table, I think, than just that. Obviously when you shoot the percentages those two kids have shot, that's the thing that stands out. But I do think they're going to bring other things to our team as well. Obviously DJ Williams' versatility. He is truly a guy that can play about anywhere on the floor with his size and his skill set. His knowledge of the game, his IQ, and then Darius, just the fact, as I mentioned earlier, about the maturation process, but the fact that he's been with us and practiced for a year, and he's, in much better shape now, and I think mentally in a different place, and what he's going to bring at that time, he'll be 21 years old, as an older guy to our team and to our front court, especially after losing Egwu at the conclusion of this year. So, we're excited about the class. I think it's, I would put it up against about any class in the country, any league. It doesn't matter. To me, all four of those guys, we certainly like them, and that's the most important thing. That we're excited about them and how they fit into our plans moving forward. So I'll answer any questions that you might have about the class collectively, or about each of the four of them individually. Feel free.
John, can you talk about how Darius, that situation evolved where you wanted to sign him now in the fall as opposed
Well, that was the plan the whole time. Obviously, he still has some work to do. He's got to complete the year, but I love the progress he's made, as I said earlier, Jeremy, in all three areas, really. He has, really done a great job there. Obviously I've been down to see him, as have our staff, and I think he's in a good place right now. He's got to finish strong. He start strong, finish strong. He's got to finish strong. But that was our plan the entire time. My hope is that he and I have talked about him becoming, certainly the opportunity to become maybe one of the greatest success stories of my career as a coach, and that opportunity that presented itself. Sometimes you got to try to make lemonade out of lemons. And at this juncture, he's certainly done that. So we're very excited about his progress.
We had heard that possible some other schools could get in on Darius if he wavered at all. It could have been a highly sought-after player. How big was that he stayed loyal?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I just know what we're doing and our interaction with him, and he's been very firm about wanting to be at Illinois. He takes a lot of pride in having the opportunity to play for his state school, and obviously with great support from the family and from Brandon. So, I really don't get caught up in any of that.
Coleman lands, in terms of positioning, a lot of talk about point guard, shooting guard. Do you label him as anything at this point?
Well, I think he's multi-positional. The more guys on your team that you can have, Marcus, that are multi-positional, the better. I think he can score the ball, not just shoot it. I think the one thing that really stood out to me over the course of the summer was how much his ball handling had improved. His decision-making has improved. I think he's going to be able to guard and defend. He communicates well. He's got great leadership potential. He's a winner. There's a lot of things to like about Jalen Coleman. I think the best thing about him is even yesterday, he was up at, on signing day at 5:30 in the morning to work out at 6 a.m. I mean, he loves the game, and he's one of those guys that continues to, hone his strengths but at the same time work very, very hard to develop and improve and grow in some of those areas that are weaknesses. And, he's a really hard worker. I've seen him improve a great deal over the course of the time that we've recruited him, which has been a long time. And I see nothing but upside for him. He's going to keep getting better because of how he approaches things.
If you think of this, but you're an Indiana guy. It's been 30 years since Illinois had an Indiana native on its roster. I mean, that state always brings so much. Why has this been so hard, do you think?
Well, I just see that, to be honest with you, Jeremy, as a number. I mean, I can't control that. I've only been here 2.5 to 3 years. So, for us, it's more about getting the right fit, the right guy. That's a cool stat, and it's great to break the so-called, streak or, however you want to put that or phrase that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is that he fits what we're looking for on the court. He fits what we're looking for off the court, and, we're glad to have him in our program.
And said he's got a way to go on point guard development. But Shane himself played guard in college not too long ago. How will that inform? I mean, were you aware of Shane as a player?
I was not. Obviously been aware of him as a coach, and have enjoyed getting to know him. Have a great respect for Lalu's program and what they're doing there and the work he's done with Jalen. Jalen has definitely improved, as I mentioned earlier. That's been very noticeable, I think, in that area when it comes to ball handling, decision making. And he's adding that, to his ability to score and to make shots. But I also think the thing with him is he's so competitive. I think one of the things that gets missed, Rob, is his ability to guard the basketball as an on-ball defender. I think he's going to be very strong-suited there as well.
Do you have any input? Jamal have any input, like talk with Hireman about the kind of things that you want to work on? You just leave them alone?
No, we let him coach his team, and they do a great job. We'll interact with them, obviously, and share different ideas. I think in any circumstance you're in, we can learn from them, and then I hope in turn they learn from us a little bit as we exchange ideas. Sometimes you get one or two things when you have an interaction like that might be helpful to either party. And, so he's asked questions. We've asked questions of him, meaning Shane. And, you can tell that their entire staff, I mean, all those guys, that are on that staff really care about those kids and their development and the work that they do with them on a daily basis, the way they grind, I think kind of speaks for itself.
You said Jalen and Aaron can do more, but they are considered known as shooters. How much of a priority was it to find shooters and the luxury of getting two in this class?
Well, I think, Jim, after going through what we did last year, obviously, you always would rather have shooting guys that can make shots. I mean, the objective of the game is to put the ball in the basket at the end of the day. Those two guys do it at a really high level. But we've talked a lot about Jalen. I think Aaron is also a guy that has similar work ethic. He's constantly working, constantly getting up shots, constantly working on his game, loves the game, works at it. I love his size. He's 6'4", 6'5" as a guard. He's got great size. I think that, once again, another guy who's I've just seen his ball handling improve, his confidence improve, his body change. And a lot of that's certainly attributed to him and how hard he works. I also think he has big-time upside because of the passion that he has for the game. You either have that or you don't. Both those guys have a motor for the game, a thirst, for the game to get better. But, again, I think, they get labeled as such sometimes because, not a lot of guys on the number of attempts that they attempt, whether it's in the summer or on their high school teams, which, they shoot quite a few threes, make the percentages that those guys make. So obviously that's, I think, at times what stands out.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Paul relative to the loss of Egwu, and how does he fit in that regard?
Oh, sure. Yeah, Lauren, he's a different player than Egwu. People have asked that. Obviously Nana is very gifted on the defensive side of the ball and has really, really worked very hard to develop his jump shooting and low post game and offensive rebounding attack, and he's really gotten better over the time that he's been with us. Once again, another guy with motor who loves the game and works, so it's no surprise there. Darius, at this juncture, has a little bit more perimeter in him, certainly than Nana does, meaning handling, not necessarily shooting because Nana shoots the ball well, but handling and passing. Darius has a real gift with that. In fact, he has probably what some people would consider guard skills when it comes to handling and passing the basketball. We saw that last year in practice quite frequently. Because of that, that allows him to play inside and outside. At the same time, he also has a gift to score the ball with his back to the basket. And at this point and juncture, is probably more offensively advanced than defensively advanced. But, as he knows from being here, we'll get the defense out of him.
John, how valuable is it that, I know you talk about culture a lot, that he's had a year to, he comes in understanding quite a bit about your culture and so forth?
I think it's really helpful. Tup, as I mentioned earlier, just the experiences that he's been through, the different places that he's attended, the different things off the court, that he's dealt with, that's been thrown on his plate, the way he's handled those from the time he left here until right now, I think is really, a tribute to him maturing. And I know yesterday he even used the phrase, it's humbled me. I think it's made him appreciate things more. And I think anyone or any kid that's in that situation, that's pretty natural. But I think he's made the most of it. And, that's why we're, awful excited about the progress he's made.
Was there ever any point along the way when you had doubts about bringing him back from the very
Zero.
And you with nothing along the way?
Zero. Nothing. Zero.
No possibility to bring him in at the semester break.
No, not at this juncture.
John, DJ was the first one, and another Simeon guy. It seems like that relationship is established, but how does he fit in with those?
DJ fits in with about anybody. Everybody loves to play with DJ because of how skilled he is, his IQ, his feel for the game. He's a great teammate. He's a winner. He really understands how to play. He has those instincts, handles it, passes it, understands good shot, bad shot, understands the game, watches the game a lot, loves the game. He just has those instincts and intellect. I think that a lot of guys don't have, to be honest with you. He has those things, has a lot of intangibles in addition to his noticeable size and length for the position or positions that he plays. So, obviously I think his greatest gift is his versatility, and he's such a smart player. He sees things and anticipates things very, very well. And obviously, he was the first guy. And, he would be the first to tell you. I mean, he also, very similar to what I mentioned about Darius earlier. I mean, he's proud of the fact that he gets to represent his state. And, we're excited to have him. You want to talk about a guy that's multi-positional now. I mean, he can play a lot of different places. You can do a lot of different things with your team because of the versatility, the unique versatility of a player like DJ.
Coach, you saw a lot of basketball this summer. Is Jalen the best shooter in the country, in your opinion?
I don't know. Him and Jordan, that would be a great contest between the two of them, shooting, different shooting drills and so forth. Both of them can really stick the ball in the basket. Obviously percentages, you look at those. I call it money balling it. If you've ever read the book by Michael Lewis, and you money ball it, you look at those two guys, and their percentages are, off the charts. Obviously Jalen was the leading three-point shooter in a very challenging EYBL, environment, tournament, teams, weekends. He showed it over the course of a very long period of time there, his ability to make shots. But he's always done that. I mean, that's not a surprise. But I think both those guys are terrific shooters.
John, this day and age where, you have ESPNU with all these recruits making their announcements, doing big things like that. It seems like all your guys kind of do it quietly. Can we look into anything like that with the culture?
No, I mean, I just think, obviously those kids had already made their decisions prior to yesterday. I do think that, those three guys are substance guys, if that's what you're alluding to. I think there's no question about that. I think those guys are excited to be here. I think they're coming for the right reasons. They want to be at Illinois. They want to be a part of what we're building and where we're going. They want to be a part of the school. They want to walk on this campus. They understand the power of the degree from here. I think all those things, really are a tribute to, their character, but also a tribute to, their parents, and or relatives and guardians and coaches, and all of them have great backgrounds, which is I think going to serve them well, Jeremy, as they make the transition from high school to college.
Anything surprise you this recruiting season? Anything that, like, somebody that didn't come, somebody that did?
Nothing surprises me anymore, Rob, and I do mean nothing.
You talk about Rob Jordan and his involvement with the recruiting process.
Well, Rob's obviously an important part of Aaron's life as his father, and Rob and Aaron came down quite a bit. DJ was here quite a bit. Jalen's already been here a couple times. Those guys love coming down, coming here to campus. Rob has, got a lot of energy. I can relate and connect to with Rob's energy, and loves his son, and is really, as Romelda does as well. His sister Ariel. They got a great family, and so we're very very excited to officially have them join us. Obviously, for some time they've been, unofficially until signing day, already a big part of our family.
Have you ever had a parent so involved in the recruiting process for, like, other recruits?
Oh, sure. I think that's, I think that's fairly normal these days. He's certainly not the only one.
Anything else on recruiting?
Okay, Georgia Southern. Obviously we're excited about the home opener tomorrow night. I think our guys would tell you they're ready to play games. Obviously we had a chance to scrimmage and then had a chance to play the exhibition game last Friday night. We're excited. They pose some interesting challenges this early from the standpoint that they've played three-quarter court pressure, they've played full court pressure. They've played zone, they've played man. So our ability early in the year to have an opportunity to play someone when we have to recognize changing defenses and take care of the basketball, which I thought we did well last Friday night with 7 turnovers against Quincy, will be challenged. And then defensively, the two areas I got on our guys about after Friday night's game was transition defense and guarding the basketball better. And I think they're pretty good at those two things. They're really good. They play a great tempo, fast tempo. Their guard play is excellent. So those guys can make plays, whether in space or off of pick and rolls, and we're going to be challenged with that. So, I think it's a good test for us. But more than anything, the biggest thing we've talked about since last Friday was getting our defensive identity back a little bit. I didn't think we defended very well on Friday night. I do like the way that for this early in the year we've executed offensively, and I think in particular I like the fact that our guys are sharing the ball. I think our shot selection's been very good for the most part, and our guys are really playing well together on that end of the floor. But we've got to defend better than we did on Friday night. Questions? None's full go. Obviously we've got 6 games coming up in 15 days. So that's a lot starting tomorrow night. So, we'll see how his body responds to that. I think the encouraging thing now, Lauren, is we're good to go with the knee. Paul Schmidt and our doctors deserve a ton of credit for that. Now it's more a matter of timing, conditioning, how many minutes can he play really, really hard and intense and locked in, and all those different things, rhythm that come with actually playing games and more 5-on-5 day after day on a consistent basis than what he did in the preseason and the fall training camp. So, but we're excited to have him back.
Is there kind of a target for how many minutes you think
We're going to play that by ear. Just feel the trainer will communicate with me, obviously, and then I'll kind of watch him and get a feel for that in terms of how he looks out there. And then, obviously, he has ownership in that as well, so we'll communicate with him also.
Have you made a decision on Michael Finke, and is he going to play this?
Not at this juncture on him or anyone else at this juncture. We're, as I said, we always evaluate all the way through the preseason. my general rule, as I've shared with you guys, if I feel like a guy has a chance to play in every single game and play 8 to 10 minutes a night as a part of the normal rotation, and he's a freshman, then that's usually the direction that we go is to keep them eligible to play. We're still obviously Michael played in both the scrimmage and the exhibition game and did some good things. I think his career future is very, very, very bright. He's already gotten stronger. As I joked earlier, I couldn't control the fact he did grow 2 to 2.5 inches, but that was a nice Christmas present for all of us. He's gained a lot of weight. He's worked very hard on skill level things. I think he's becoming more and more comfortable inside of our system. I think his future is very, very bright.
Put a lot of attention on the newer guys and some of the younger guys getting better. But what about Ray? What have you seen from him in terms of where he was last year to the point and where he is now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Ray that I'm most proud of is his development as a person and student. He's been terrific in those two areas. He's worked very hard, Marcus, to become a really good shooter, and that's been a noticeable improvement area. I also think with him, you go from a guy where, every possession, I shouldn't say every, but a lot of the possessions last year, Abrams and Rice were involved in those possessions, and now this year with more weapons and more depth, I think he gets it. I mean, I've been really, really impressed with his ability to connect with his teammates, his understanding to sacrifice. He may have to sacrifice, a few minutes or a few shots or, relative to last year, and he hasn't even flinched. I mean, he wants to win. I love his competitiveness. He's practiced really well here the last couple days. And I'm awful excited. As I tell him all the time, I'm glad he's on our bus.
Is it a work in progress substitution? You have any idea how many you'll play tomorrow? Or?
I've got a feel, Jim, but some of that will be feel and instincts, during the game. But obviously, I've said if guys earn it, I'd like to go 9 to 10. At this point, I don't see any reason why we can't hit either one of those numbers. I think our guys have done a good job, and we do have more depth than we've had the first 2 years. And, we're obviously that helps our team, not only now but long-term in its development this season.
You talked about your team being unselfish and passing the ball. You've seen that throughout practices too. I mean,
Oh, without question. I commended him when we went to the half the other night. I think it was, I may be off on this, so you have DB, but I think we had 15 field goals and 9 or 10 of them were assisted. I may be off 1 or 2 on that, but something like that, where the high bulk of the shots were assisted. Obviously it helps when you're a better shooting team like we are this year, Jim. It's easier to get assist. You don't have to create offense off the dribble all the time, although certainly we have some guys that can do that. But I thought the ball has moved well. The ball has had good energy. And, when we pass it like that, I think it makes you so much better offensively. And obviously we did a pretty good job taking care of the ball with 7. If you told me we were going to turn it over 7 times a night, I'd take that right now. So I thought that was really encouraging.
Coach, talked about the ball pressure to bring tomorrow night. It'd be a good test for Ahmad. Just talk about his progression and getting more comfortable in the offense.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Ahmad is he's becoming more and more vocal. It certainly helps that the big fella, that Nana has really tried to urge him to do that. I think certainly Ahmad's very coachable and teachable, and he's smart. But when you have a peer really encouraging you to do that, someone with the credibility of Nana, I think that's also helped bring that out in Ahmad. So Nana deserves a lot of credit for that. I know Tracy talks to Ahmad as well about that, and there's been a noticeable difference there. His presence with his communication, I think, is the biggest thing, Derek, in terms of his improvement. But obviously, offensively, he's done what he did. The other night he didn't shoot it very well, and he had great looks. I mean, great looks. He's going to make a few of those. So I'm not worried about that. my biggest thing with him is holding him accountable on the defensive end, as we do every player on our roster, to defending and rebounding. And I think he was a little bit disappointed with his defensive grade out last Friday night. I know he's met with his position coach, Jamal Walker, a couple times and trying to improve in that area. I think, obviously, the more committed he is in that area, the offensive end is going to take care of itself because he's very gifted offensively.
Most Tracy's one of your captains. He's going to travel with you guys.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Trace is a huge part of who we are. You know, he's the hardest thing when you're out like him, Marcus, and you're doing rehab and different things to bring the knee back, is being connected. But I've tried to do the best I can to put him in situations where he remains connected to our team. He obviously has a very valuable voice. He knows me well. He knows our staff well. He knows the system well. He and Nana and Ahmad were voted captains by those guys for a reason. I think he has a certain respect level from his teammates because of who he is as a person, student, and player. And he has a gift to communicate and be vocal, so we certainly want to tap into that. I've really challenged him to try to look at it this year through the eyes of a coach, a little bit different perspective than a player. I think in the end that will make him a better player and more prepared for next season when he comes back.
Is this the first time, John, when you travel, you won't have to leave anybody behind?
Well, we've got to leave Alex behind, Austin, and I hate that. I told him that the other day. It drives me nuts, but it's just part of the NCAA rules, tough, and, because Alex is important to us, and I hate any time I do not like segregating our team. We are a team, but it's just part of the rules. Alex understands that.
I'd say Ahmad has to work on his vocal leadership, but being voted the captain certainly has earned the respect of the team already.
Oh, no question. Yeah, and I think he's been better, no doubt about it, and really gotten outside his comfort zone. Ahmad wants to be good and wants to do cool things, special things. I mean, I love the kid. I think he's, made the most of his opportunity. We've been blessed, Jim. I said earlier, I wish that, sure, you can always speculate. Had he gotten the waiver last year, how would that have helped the team? Would, that have, maybe propelled you into a different tournament? Yeah, probably. But, we can't control those things. He can't and I can't. And so now here we are sitting here, obviously not knowing that Tracy's injury was going to take place. And he's got a year experience learning the system, understanding terminology, connecting with his teammates, building that chemistry. And there's no question that he will be a better player for us this year than he would have been last year just because of that year to learn and grow as he did. So, we kind of see it obviously at this juncture as a blessing.
Was what LeBron did the other night what you guys have been seeing all throughout, or was that kind of a little bit better than what you've been showing?
No, I mean, the emotion and the motor and the passion he plays with, that's the same every day. Obviously, he has great touch and he has a gift on the glass. I mean, he's a load on the backboard. I mean, he's been that way every day, and obviously took full advantage of some opportunities that he had the other night. And I thought he did some good things and played well. Things statistically will show up like points and field goal percentage and rebounds, Marcus. But the thing that he's done a better job of here lately is learning our defensive system and the intricacies of that. And as soon as he picks those things up, as Nana has said, I think a couple different times, I really think the sky's the limit for him.